So also coming out August 31st is The Little Stranger. It's rated R. It's an hour and 51 minutes long. It's a horror based on a novel by Sarah Waters. The director is Lenny Abramson, who did Room, which is fantastic, and Frank, which is a guy about wearing the mascot head all the time. Room got an 8.2. Frank got a 7.0. These are really good movies. The writer is Lucinda Coxon, who did The Danish Girl, which got a 7.1, and Wild Target, which got a 6.8. The cast is Ruth Wilson, who was in Locke, Domhnall Gleeson in Ex Machina, and Charlotte Rampling, which she was in 45 Years. I appreciate the lack of jump scares. I want to say that first off. There is no moment of, a loud screeching sound where something visual pops up and tries to make you nervous. Because jump scares are not scary. They're startling. There's a huge difference between something being scary and something being startling. My daughter, who is 2, has the ability to startle me without, a $10 million budget. She's able to do that. These horror movies that focus so much on jump scares are just putting you on edge. Like, oh, I know something's gonna startle me, but I don't know when, I don't know what, and you get anxious about that, but you don't get invested into the story. And I think this one is much more focused on the story. I think the time period is very much in its favor, and that the way not having the internet, not having cell phones, not having technology makes Ghost way scarier. But with that all being said, this doesn't feel fresh. This doesn't feel new. There's nothing in the trailer that makes it feel like it's gonna shock you. Nothing that's going to be interesting or really hold your attention at all. Just kind of feels like more of the same. And I don't know. One, to be fair, I'm not a horror fan. I grew up terrified of scary movies because when I was like 4 or 5, my grandpa showed me Child's Play, which is the Chucky movies, and it scared me. And I was like, oh, I just don't like horror movies. So I was about 16 before I saw House of Wax, which was, I believe, the first horror movie I saw. And I was like, oh, no, these are not scary. And then I watched more, and I was like, oh, I think I missed out. I didn't have that time of buying into these storylines to really make me scared, and never had fun with it. So now that I'm older, I watch them and I'm like, it's not really believable. This doesn't seem like this would happen. These characters seem kind of illogical. So I don't really get into them. So saying all that, I don't want to see this movie. But if you love ghost stories, if you love horror movies, this one looks like it's really well done. This one looks like it's focused on much more of a, not logical, but a focus point that this girl is trying to communicate and is somewhat haunting the family. And I think it will be a really good story. I just don't know how scary it's going to be. I don't know how much depth you really can pull out of that in the scary factor. And again, I think scary is really hard to do. That's why jump scares are so mainstream and so popular. So I don't know. I'm not going to see this one, but I would love to know if you are. What do you think of the trailer? Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it?